Gotta get your consent because I'm about to go in. That was wrong.
Where's the lube?
All right, let's have some fun. Everybody, welcome to the 2 Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And today we have a very special guest because he's just one of my favorite people in the world. And with that, we're just gonna dive right in. This is Leighton Alexander Williams. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored, and I'm happy to be here.
Ooh, highly favored. I like that. What's going on in the world of Leighton?
Oh, wow, so much. Right now I'm a part of the CFC, which is
Oh,
yeah,
what was
yeah,
that
which
like? When did that happen?
that happened in September. Well, September is when we officially started.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you, thank you. So, yeah, I'm making the transition right now from thespian to film star, if you will. And
Stop it. They're interchangeable. If you're a thespian, you're already a film star.
right. So tapping into that right now. So it's like the hyperbolic time chamber for me, just really focusing on that. And also focusing on being present because
Hmm.
I in this day and age I get in my head a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's fair. Now, so you're in the CFC. Brandon was in the CFC. Lavelle was
Hmm.
in the CFC.
Yeah.
This is just a BDB thing. Like, I think that's what I should have done was gotten a letter of recommendation from BDB to say, hey, I want, because I tried. I did. I applied. I got my letters of recommendation, and I got just, I didn't even get past first round. And I was like, they don't care for Filipinos yet.
No, geez. But you know what? The first time I applied for the CFC, it was the year that Brandon was applying as well. And
Mm.
I didn't even get an audition. And I was mortified. I'm like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am in the theater world? You'll regret this. So yeah,
Hilarious.
I didn't even get an audition. So
Mm.
I don't know. That's how it goes.
But even with that, like since then, because I want to say Brendan was there 2018.
Yes.
So then since then, like you built up credits through acting, through directing, through writing, and then it's like where do you find the time to just say, you know what, I'm gonna go back to a conservatory?
I don't know. I think what I love with conservatory training, because I was in a conservatory last year just for directing, and
Hmm.
with this with conservatory style training, it's just it's so focused, and you really just get to relearn the foundations of whatever the subject is, right?
Hmm.
And I, for me, like having such a great experience of theater school and going to an acting conservatory at York, and then the directing conservatory, I was just like, you know what? If I really want to feel comfortable with film and TV, maybe conservatory program is the way to go.
Hmm.
To just immerse myself in it, right? Because
Hmm.
I'm someone who thrives off consistency and regimen.
Hmm.
And that's what they were offering. So,
Fair. Would you then say, because I know you love the stage, so then it's
yeah.
like, what would happen then if you're presented to projects, whether it's like, okay, hey, you can go on this TV show. Um, let's go with the route of directing right now, where it's like you can direct this TV show, um, 10 episodes, or you can do this Broadway play. You're going to direct this Broadway play. Judas Noir is going to Broadway. What would you pick?
Well, that changes things. If it's Judas Noir, if it's something that I've also written, like
Mm,
there's more of a love there. But if I'm not attached to it at all, then I'm going film and TV route
okay.
nowadays because um, I love theater. Is just in this day and age, I'm more, I have to prioritize security, right?
Hmm.
And in the theater world right now, you just can't really, you can't, there's no security, there's no job
Yeah.
security. I hate to say
Yeah.
it. I want to be like positive, but there's no job security. I mean,
Mhm.
look at Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. There was just a couple years ago where it was down, it was down to
I
me,
remember
and
that. I remember that. I remember that. You don't
right,
have to relive the
yeah,
traumas if you don't want to.
right, and then it went to him, and boom, COVID happens, and I would have been crushed, right? So
Mhm.
I'm glad that like I didn't book it, and but so I didn't have to experience that, because
Mhm.
imagine booking this over a year, like a 65-week contract. You're playing this cool ass character, and on like Toronto's Broadway, right?
Yeah.
So and then told that, oh sorry, due to circumstances outside of your control, we can't do the show, and now we're so
Yeah.
it's like I rather not put myself through that with theater right
So
now.
I'm equity, but like I've never done a stage production. Um, I just decided to join the equity union because I thought it'd be neat to have my equity card. But because you've done stage, what would the security be? Like, for example, if I book a TV show and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the show gets canceled, I still get paid my day. What
Yeah.
happens in the theater world now, where it's like, okay, cool, you're on for 65. You said 65 weeks?
Yes.
Jeez. So you're on for 65 weeks, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden this happens. What security?
I couldn't tell you.
Wow.
The closest that I've experienced something like this is I booked 12 Angry Men, and funding fell through on production for it was at St. Lawrence Market Theater, and I didn't get paid anything because we didn't start rehearsals yet. If we started rehearsals, then that would have been a different story. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Hmm. Fair. Well, I want to explore more on your experience with the theater route. Um, am I correct here where the last project that you were directing, um, that was you didn't write that though. They offered that to you to direct?
At Brock University, The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. That was the
Yeah.
last. Yeah.
How was that? Tell us like in regards to a project that you didn't write, because we're gonna go into Adonis project and Judas more, but like to
Yeah.
get involved with a project that you didn't write, how was that?
Um, it was great because uh, I feel like with directing The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, because that is probably one of my favorite plays of all time. It was just
Oh wow.
easy. Yeah, it felt like my words. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if you love a play that much and you really understand the writing, then it just feels like it feels like an adopted child. Yeah, I didn't create you, but you're mine. You're my kid.
Fair. Fair, 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 fair.
And yeah, so that's what The Last Days of Judas Iscariot feels like to me. And um yeah, it's I didn't approach it differently than the way I would approach Judas Noir. Um uh yeah. Yeah, I think that answers your question. I'm not
And then
sure.
how's the run? How's the performance?
Amazing. Come
Sorry.
on.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. And that's all we have for 2 degrees and Leighton Alexander Williams. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, no, it was really well received. The actors had a fantastic time. I had a blast too. I learned a lot about directing and performance, and it was a full circle moment for me because I fell in love with theater and performing in theater school my
Mm.
first year, and it was seeing the MFA grads do The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. Um, and then to be at a theater school directing it, directing the play that I fell in love with, it was just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is magical.
Fair.
It's magical.
Fair.
And with what I know now, and and putting my influence and my lens and my views on it through this play, it was healing. It was healing. I don't want to get like airy fairy, but it was healing. It was
No, that's beautiful. So with your experience on stage, let's focus on one. And I think the way to narrow this down would be if you got a contract and to say to bring one of either Adonis Project or Judas Noir to the screen, which one would you pick first?
Ooh. I'd pick the Adonis Project first because it's all me. Judas Noir was an adaptation, but the Adonis Project it's really me. It's vulgar, but it's soulful, and just aesthetically, it looks quite different. Yeah. So I would love to see that on film. Oh, goosebumps already. Yeah. But I would, yeah, and especially in the time and age we're living in now, it's like it's super current. Yeah. So yeah, I would go with the Adonis Project.
Okay, so then with that answer, let's explore the Adonis Project. Tell us about the process of writing it. Where did the idea come from? What did they say? When did you get pregnant with the idea? Is that a thing? I don't know why that.
Right. Yeah. I was pregnant. Yeah. When I got knocked up this idea, it was in theater school. It was in 2014. Mm-hmm. So at York University, our final thesis assignment, we get up to 15 minutes on stage to showcase who you are and who you are as an artist, and create a really solid character and story. So I thought about how especially at that time, I wanted to really use my art as a vehicle to explore politics and social change and all of that. And I thought about, and with where I was at that time, I felt I developed this term called trans beautiful, which is probably problematic in this day and age, but back then everyone understood.
Hold on, wait. Why would you think that's problematic?
Because I don't want to like belittle what a trans person's actual experience might be. Okay. Because I didn't feel pretty enough. You know what I mean? But it's like, but it is to that degree how I felt. I felt like I was just this Instagram model porn star god, just chiseled, but living in a fat kid's body. So
as we all are.
Right. So that's how I.
That's why when I'm on Pornhub, I make sure to type in "not fit guys having sex."
Right, reconditioning the mind. You're smart.
I want to see the guy get tired during.
Right, and then it's more realistic. Right. Thank you. I agree. But yeah, so in 2014, that's where I was at, and I'm like, okay, what if this surgeon creates a process where everyone gets to feel like their best self, right? Aesthetically, like aesthetic perfection. And the only twist is they have to just give up their skin tone. They finish with a golden finish, and voila, it's like this new utopia. And then I thought further into that, if we all really look alike, and if we all really want equality, then that could be a way where we can end either racism or issues that are caused by our physical appearance. So I wanted to package it. I wanted to package this idea, this pitch to a political government, and brand it as, oh, this is just all about like vanity and becoming pretty, but really at the heart of it is much deeper than that. It's about racial tension and getting rid of these social barriers. So I created the Adonis Project for my final piece. It was just a monologue. Your that time. It was my final monologue for York. Yeah, it was a final assignment. It was just a 15-minute.
No, but I mean in the play, because you did the final monologue in the play as well, right?
Yes.
That was it?
Yeah, that was the monologue. Yeah, that I did. And then at the end of my session at York, doing that doing my archetype project, one of my professors really suggested that I develop this piece because it was honestly, and I don't care if my fellow Yorkies are watching. I was the best one. I was the best one that night. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, Ange. Fuck you, Johnny. I was the best one. People were talking about my shit. I closed the show, bitches. So, so
Yeah,
there we go.
Alexander Williams is dropping the quotes. We're gonna be definitely putting sound bites out there for all of you to make for your ringtones and enjoy.
So yeah, so they said they really encouraged me to develop the piece into a play, and because I can go somewhere with it. And another thing that I realized is at York, when I would excel most, it would be in the projects where we get to write the roles for ourselves, not the ones where I was cast in, right? Because I know what I want to showcase and what my strengths are. I was able to strategically write to highlight what I do well. So long story short, X.
No, we got a whole hour. Let's
talk. Okay, great. All right. So I'll give you all of it. Natasha Adiana Morris, she's the head of Peace of Mind Festival. She was looking for Black men in theater specifically, and if they had any stories they wanted to tell. And they have 45 minute to an hour slot to do it at her festival. And I thought
that was the premiere of it. I thought you showcased it before.
No, that was the premiere.
Oh, wow, cool. Okay.
Yeah. When you saw it. So I thought, okay, I have 2 weeks. Develop this character further. What else do you want to say about Vanity? How do other people get in so I can get my friends involved and still keep the fabulous dance numbers and all of that. So I did that, and I found at the time I was watching a lot of or I was new to Ryan Murphy's work with American Horror Story and American Crime Story and even Feud. And what I love so much about Ryan Murphy is that he's not afraid of really asking questions about perfectionism and human experience and beauty, and how much beauty standards fuck us all up, not just women, like men too. So I delved into that, but he comes from like a white male gaze, right? So I just wanted to showcase a Black male gaze and what I know also about like other ethnic stories. So I developed the piece and I sent it to Adiana, and obviously I got in. So then I got a spot, and I cast it. I'm like, Amanda, Chelsea, Chris, let's get together. It's not gonna be a lot of money, but we're gonna look great. We're gonna look great.
Yeah, no, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, we did the damn thing, and it was the first time in the history in 5 years that Natasha did the Peace of Mind Festival, where the festival was at like for an encore presentation, because her play was fire too, and it was a double bill, and we got to do it again. Yeah. So with all that said, now where is the Adonis Project, you ask? Well, at Obsidian Theater, they were doing a playwrights unit, and I got selected for that, and I wanted to really take the Adonis Project to the next level and make it a 2-act play. And I accomplished that. And we had this showcase earlier this year, and wigs were snatched. It was well received. Unfortunately, it was through a Zoom medium, so I didn't really get to see how all the pieces land, but I did receive feedback.
So then did you record it? Can I be privy to this? Am I allowed to watch this?
No, I didn't. I know, but we can read the script together. We can do a Zoom thing. We can do a Zoom reading.
As much as like you say that jokingly, no, yeah, no, I definitely love that if you're down for that.
I'm down
Let's
for
do
it.
that.
Let's schedule it. Let's schedule it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, over the
Wow.
next
Well,
2 weeks.
congrats with that. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Hmm.
So yeah, so now I'm working on should I go back to should I when I go back to theater when the world is
Hi, my name's
um
Leighton Alexander Williams, and I'm done with theater. I'm
theater.
just a film actor and director. Do not approach me with anything equity. SAG only, please.
Right. Thank you. But yeah, no, I do want to get that published,
Hmm.
and I want to be a playwright. I want to be an official playwright, have a play out, and I don't know if you know of Jeremy O'Harris, but Lavelle brought this artist to my attention from New York, and he blew up with this controversial play called A Slave Play. I'm like, oh my god! But Lavelle's like, he's so like you, so like get your shit published and get your name out there. So I'm on that train right now.
Talk to me about that in regards to getting it published. Like, what does that entail? I just figured that because it's already out there and it's performed, isn't it published already?
It can be since I've already had a performance, but I wanted to have like that one was at a festival. I wanted to have an official performance in a theater house, like in like a grade A theater house. That way, that helps with like getting it published.
So it's actually just in a book form, so then people can buy
Yes.
that. Oh, okay,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, because I would like it to have a longer life, right?
Yeah.
And it would and it helps if it's just like someone who's, oh, whoa, this was done as Soul Pepper, what? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Now, because we just had that brief interaction over Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield,
Oh my God.
where would you say you're at with this phase? Because like he was at the point where he finished his play, and then there was just that waiting moment. Are you there now, or are you past that? Or do you want to like where are you?
Yeah, so I'm after the moment where he did the workshop and it was well received, and now he's
Just
waiting.
waiting. Yeah.
He's
Wow.
waiting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the agent tells him, okay, write another one. Fuck you! I don't want to write another. No, bro, no. Like this needs to be done at a bigger on a bigger scale. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not just a workshop play. We forget about it. No.
Oof. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I commend you so much for that. And like I've always put you at like a different playing field because you have that on your belt, and it's like as much as like I see and you see it too, where it's like it's hard to translate your stage experience to the screen because producers don't look at those things, where it's like you're on another level with that. You're phenomenal with your writing, with your directing, with your acting. So where would you rank your interests in regards to, hey, Leighton, we want to bring you on board for this project. Would you like to be the writer? Would you like to be the director? Or would you like to act in it?
Wow. I think like it was the last year that's actually changed my whole opinion on this. Like if you asked me last year, I'd be like actor first. That's how I started in this industry. That's my first love. Acting. But I think depending on the project, like nowadays, I think depending on the project and how I could be of best service to the story, my answer can vary. But I think I have the most fun acting out of the three, just because I have the most confidence in that because I've been doing it the longest.
Yeah.
I feel like with writing writing is so
Whoa.
personal. When you get a note, when I can take a note as an actor, right? Easy peasy, like had nothing to do with me, right?
Huh,
Nothing.
okay.
Yeah, give me notes. Directorial notes, you don't really get directorial notes until after the show.
Mhm.
But I've only been getting good directorial notes, so I don't know what it
Yeah.
feels like to get a bad one. Uh, but writing notes, when you get writing notes, it's just like, oh, they hate me. I'm trash. I am nothing. Yeah, those are hard to deal with. Like writing notes are hard, bro. They
Did
are
you
hard.
give me an example of a writing note that you got with
Recently,
Adonis project that
oh, Adonis.
you didn't want to do, but you're like, yeah, okay, I got to.
Yeah. Okay. A writing note that I got for. Okay, so I have a scene that I expanded in the Adonis project between the goddess Beauty and this queen. This like Disney queen, right? But not Disney because Disney don't come for me. You're not getting a cut. But they basically Beauty, to show the audience that Beauty can time travel, and um, she travels back in time and to a different era, and she interacts with this queen who has just like um, done something horrid, and she's in like the state of turmoil, and Beauty's talking to the queen, and I really like that scene. I was told that the scene needs to be cut because it's too long. And if the queen's in the
Mm.
scene, if the queen's in the play for so long, we have to see her again because she becomes the main character. I'm like, no, we don't need to see her again. She's just setting up. She's just setting up what Beauty can do, and Beauty's nature, like Beauty's worst relationship, right? How do I articulate this better? So in the process of Act One, we learned that Beauty has when she falls in love with someone, they become her chosen, right?
Mhm.
And she just wants to show us that she's done falling in love with humans because they always disappoint her. They
Mm.
always want more. And the worst relationship she's ever gotten into was with this queen. And she shows us that. Like the queen is just she's just a device to show us um uh the lowest point in Beauty's life when it comes to romantic relationships,
Mm.
right? That's all. And the scene, and then she's like, okay, that's fine, and I get it, but it has to be shorter. It can't be 7 pages. No, we need to get into it. Like the Queen's dramatic. Like we have to see the rise and the fall, and Richard has to come in. Yeah, that was one that I fought for, and
Mm.
it made it to the final end because I had to kill a lot of babies. I hate that saying, but I had to. I had to in the writing of this play.
Mm.
But yeah, that one hurt me. Oh, and then I was told I had like contradictory notes where the final piece, and you're familiar with this, the main character, he goes on like this racist tirade, right? And but like everyone gets it.
Yeah.
Everyone, like no one is left out. That way, the offense is equally shared, and everyone can feel like, oh, okay, well, I don't feel singled out,
Yeah.
right? And I was told that it may be too much in this era. Maybe in 2016, when you did it, it was fine. But in this era, like there just has to be a bit more sensitivity with all that. And I was very cautious on how much I would fight that because I didn't want to seem like a bigot
Yeah.
and be insensitive because I don't want anyone to feel offended, but I do want people to feel provoked,
Yes.
you know? And because that's the nature of the piece, is to provoke people, not to make people feel less than, but to learn something. And I feel like if we turn down the heat, then it takes away everything that makes me stand out as an artist, right?
Yeah.
I've conditioned myself to be bold and unapologetic in my work. So now putting a filter on that, it just it felt very odd to me. It felt very odd to put a filter on that. but then I didn't just want to be one of those people where it's like, oh, he can't take a note, because I can't take
Hmm.
notes. It's just,
Yeah. Just not
oh,
writing
when
them.
it comes, yeah, yeah, right. I can take notes. It's just that was it would change the whole tone of the play.
Hmm.
Like that was I remember that being a moment and from the Peace of Mind Festival that everyone was just like, oh my God, when you went on
Yeah.
that racing tangent, it was just like I was really uncomfortable, like, but like in a good way,
Yeah.
right? And it was needed. And I think even in this day and age, there's space for that. There's space for work that can offend, that can provoke, if it's justified,
Yeah.
right? If it's justified with enough heart and with enough soul, and if
Yeah.
it costs the actor something, I think what I have to work on, X, is sometimes when I write, especially if I'm writing a character that I know I'm going to play, I can write a line that's just really gnarly and know
Hmm.
that, but it won't come off that way because I won't play it that way,
Because yeah, you know
right?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the audience will actually be on my side. But if for someone just reading it, they're gonna be like, this is cringe. This is
Hmm. Yeah.
So I have to get into the I there's like this catch 22 where as a writer you can't write as a director. You have to give a director free reins to
Hmm.
shape the piece.
Yeah.
But like you would hope that it falls into the right director's hands, that a director would use their best of senses to
Yeah.
not go the one-dimensional route, but to like to seep some heart into there and some soul, right? um so yeah, that's something that I want to work on,
Hmm.
because it's hard. It's hard to do. You don't want to direct the piece as you're writing it, but
So how, like, I guess what advice do you have to give, or how did you get over being able to let go of that responsibility? So it's like if you're the writer and the director, but then now there's another project where your it's your words, but now
yeah.
you've given it to somebody else. How do you know, be how do you trust that person's art, or how do you get to that point where you're going to trust that other person to make their own choices that will do it justice? How do you let go of that?
um for me, I really have to trust the person. Like I had to go through that when I did Residue, because Shona Foster directed it, and um, Shona made it better than I could have ever imagined, right?
Hmm.
So I really that was a great experience for me, in giving up in giving up my child, right?
Hmm.
Um, if it when it comes to theater, that's scarier because I won't know. Like if I have this play published, right? Anyone can just direct it if they want,
Yeah.
and um, that's scarier.
Yeah.
That is scarier.
Where does your ego go now with that, like, thought? Where
Yeah,
is it enough to stop you from publishing it, or
no, 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 because I want them coin. But and I want the work to be out there, but it's just I now have to work extra hard to make sure, because there are some plays, X, where you as a director, you have to work hard if you want to fuck that play up and make it like a mess. Like there are just
yeah,
some plays that are so well written, no
yeah,
matter where you sit, no matter who's directing it, the audience leaves feeling like, oh, what a
a
great
good
play.
play, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was just a good play, and that's testament to the writing.
Mm.
So I have to make sure that uh, I don't know, just like there's just certain subtleties in with the actions that tell you enough that just guides the director um, in a direction to win,
Hmm.
right? Um, yeah, so I think what I have to do for this play specifically, for a play that's a bit loud and can be cancel worthy, I have to just like uh pacify some of those moments and explain where the character is coming from without directing it.
I just thought of a way somebody could completely butcher Adonis Project, and it'd be like the director would be like, hmm, you know what? Instead of gold skin, let's make it white skin.
Oh my god!
And then you
And
just
like,
have this white guy on the most racist tangent at the end of it. And then people are gonna look at it just like, hmm,
what?
Leighton Alexander Williams, what were you, what were you thinking?
What were you doing? I'm like, I didn't write it. I didn't write it. It was my twin. It was my twin.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's crazy. Now, because you're saying now you have it's a testament to the writing, and the writing has to be perfect. What is your stance in regards to? Because I believe in when it's stage, every punctuation matters. When it's film, I don't consider the punctuations.
Hmm.
What's your professional opinion, having written for both?
Yeah, it definitely for theater it matters more. Like
Hmm.
the text matters more,
Yeah.
in my experience, and because the rhythm of with film and TV in the editing room, they that in the editing room, that's where the rhythm of the show or whatever is developed, right? Like the actors can come to some consensus when on the day, but it's really in the editing room where rhythm is established.
Hmm.
Um, but for a play, there is no editing room. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's in the rehearsal room where you develop that, and a play success, a big part of it, especially with the director's job, is making sure the rhythm of the play is spot on.
Mm.
Even if it's not, and people forget that. Like even if people think, oh, it's a straight play, as in like not a musical. So
Thanks for your
there's really no
clarification on that.
musicals are queer now. So yeah, it's a straight play, so there's no rhythm. No, that's not true, because I know for a fact with the last days of Judas Iscariot and plays that are just like text heavy and filled with so much exposition, you need to keep the tempo up. I don't care how much you're feeling it, babe.
Yeah.
You have to drive the text.
Yeah.
We can't be sitting there for 3 hours for you trying to feel a moment. Like
Yeah.
yes, feel your moment and push through. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah. So rhythm is and punctuation, picking your pauses.
Hmm.
We feel that in the theater more, like because we're all there together, as
Yeah.
opposed to a really good editor in film and TV.
Have you dabbled in the editing room?
Just for my demo reels.
Okay.
Yeah, no. For the CFC, one of our first assignments, we got to sit in on the editing room, for a scene we shot, and we just got to see the behind the scenes process, how that works, and how the editor decides on which take they want to choose.
So that was your first time like experiencing that? Because
The
you've done
editing
so
room
much
for me.
before. So like I'm curious if you've done editing before the CSE.
Not extensively. Just as like if it was for example, I had to direct this film for Obsidian Theater, and I was a part of the editing process. Like I would get
You
the
had
the
to direct a
first.
film for Obsidian? What they're doing films
Yeah,
now?
so at the start of the year, Obsidian Theater, their last season, it was an amalgamation of theater and film since theaters were closed down, and it was
Oh, okay.
called 21
Gotcha.
Black
Gotcha.
Futures. Yeah. So I decided to just make a short film because I've never made a
Mm.
short film, like
Yeah.
directed one, just written one. And but it's a short film that takes place in a theater.
Mm.
Um, so for the editing process, I was a part of the editing process there. Is just I was given as a director, I wasn't actually in the room with them because of COVID and all of that.
Gotcha.
I was just sent the drafts, and then I would have to give notes.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this one was a
So
bit more hands-on, where I was actually in the room and seeing the different takes and why the editor chose that take, because it just felt the most authentic and what story the editor was trying to tell, as
yeah.
opposed to the director or
So
actor.
then in the CFC, what are you taking then? Are you taking the acting conservatory or the directing?
Oh, you're taking the acting conservatory. It's useful for actors to see what happens in the editing room and
Gotcha.
how because that can affect how we perform on the day, right?
No,
Like,
I agree. Yeah, that was definitely a lesson for me for sure. Like being on set, and continuity sounds like a very simple concept,
yeah,
but continuity is hard as fuck.
of
Like,
course.
and so it wasn't until I did the master class, Samuel Jackson's master class,
Yeah,
where you have editors praising him because of how consistent he is. And then that's when it kind of clicked where I was like, the consistency of continuity is so important in film and TV. And then watching play that goes wrong on stage, and then in a way that play is all about continuity because
yeah,
you have to hit your marks to a T.
yeah,
If you're in any other play, you can have the luxury to not throw your arm out when you're giving a line, but then in this play, that it's so crucial that you're following every beat and you're doing the exact same thing for it to work. So it's like that was the thing that was so tricky when I was exploring editing, was like I was so bad at continuity. And then that's where I learned like the not importance, but I guess the trick of close-ups is if you're in a close-up, you don't really have to stress the continuity as if you're doing it two shot, because
right.
then you have your wide and you see everything that's going on, and then when you go close, your hands aren't in anymore. So it's like you don't have to stress so much about that. So it's like the editing process is definitely one of those arduous things, but like
And do you struggle with continuity because you're trying to explore just other options as you're working, or you get tired of your initial choice?
no. So I came to the conclusion when I struggle with continuity, it's because I didn't do the work. So now
Oh,
on the day, I'm trying to experiment and see what works. So
right, right,
that was like a
right.
lesson in my own journey, was like, okay, cool. If I'm not writing down all my beats and if I'm not exploring them beforehand and I just decide to do it on the day, okay, who am I, Marlon Brando? Like I could just show, and it's like no. So like I really had to dial in and understand I wasn't really doing all the work that I could. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
no, that was
Yeah,
like a big learning experience and a learning curve for me. Was like, okay, cool. I thought I was doing the work, but no, I wasn't. So I needed to step up and figure my shit out. So that was my lesson that I took. And then it's always those funny, like it's just so subtle comments that just come where it's like, and if it comes from the director, it's like, okay, cool, there's some validity to it. But then if it comes from the camera op, then it's like, okay, we got to fix this before the director notices. Oh,
right.
because like there's and I remember it so clearly where it was like I'm doing the scene and it's like I sit into my chair, and then in the next time I sat into the chair, but then it just felt comfortable, so I just decided to lean back. And it's like, hey, so you're going out of frame right now, so just make sure you do what you. And I was like, oh yeah, no, okay, cool, yeah, no, I was just trying something. It's cool,
Yeah.
yeah, no. So yeah, no, but in regards to the editing, it's like I guess this is also in correlation with me asking how do you give up, your baby, where it's like when I write, typically I write in mind how I'm seeing it as a director, and then as a director I'll approach it in like, okay,
Mm,
I already see the edits that I want to make. So now I'm one of those very hands-on directors in the editing room, as opposed to the director that's just like, okay, cool. No, these are the shots. You're the editor. Work with it. And it's like I have problems just letting go. I'm too
Right.
invested in the job, where it's like I'm so invested in that aspect of it. Now it's bleeding into the other departments, and I need this podcast is actually my journey to figure out what's wrong with me and how do I get over that and how I can let go of that. So no, it's an adventure for the both of us.
Yeah.
Ah. So yeah. So you're in the CFC now. Am I allowed to ask logistics with the CFC?
Depends.
Uh, so are you allowed to audition still?
In the past, no, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're in a conservatory and they're allowing you to still. Oh,
Because
that's
be,
cool.
because the thing is that it's like for most conservatories, why they frown upon auditioning and doing other work is that if you don't take the time to immerse yourself in what you're learning, sometimes you'll default back to your old ways of working, if that makes sense. Because it's like
Oh, so
instead
they want you to learn this way and make sure it's ingrained in you.
before you apply it, like
Gotcha,
actually
gotcha,
take the
gotcha.
time to let it
Yeah.
soak in, let it marinate before applying it.
Okay, but now they're allowing auditioning.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because it's quite different. It's quite, yeah.
Now you're entering the program amidst the pandemic is still technically going on.
Right.
What's the classroom setting like? It's it was 8 students before. Is it still 8 students? Is it less? And
It's
then
seven. It's seven
seven
this year.
students, and
Yeah.
then social distancing practices on when you're filming and things like that. Is that still
Right. And COVID testing and like weekly and all of that.
the
Mask.
school provides that, the COVID testing and
Right.
everything?
Right.
Oh, sweet, nice. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's safe as hell.
Yeah.
Now, to my recollection of the CFC, so this means you have the opportunity to develop a thesis, if you will. Like you're going to do a
Right.
final and make a film. Do you already have that
Right.
in mind?
I do. I do have that in mind. And what I can say about that without going into too much detail on the podcast, but I can send you the PDF later, is it's someone who has to say goodbye to a part of himself in order to move forward. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's a process of letting go. Yeah. I really feel like that's something that I want to explore as an artist
Yeah.
and something that I know. And
Hmm.
um, yeah.
And then the CFC gives you access to like all the equipment you're going to need for it, or how does that play now?
Yes, that's correct. They produce
Sweet.
it. It's
Nice.
theirs actually. It's not mine. It will be theirs.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I guess this just gets added to your demo reel in regards to. Hmm.
Hmm.
Are you part of the Directors Guild of Canada then?
I'm not. No.
So is that a goal? Is that what you're aiming towards, to be a part of that union as well, or are you just focusing on doing your own stuff and then seeing where it goes, or is that on your bucket list to be part of that guild?
Well, I guess after this conversation, it has to be now. Yeah, no, it wasn't necessarily on my radar before, but
Hmm.
once I figure out what the perks are,
Yeah,
then absolutely.
fair. No, dope. Awesome. That's exciting. Cool. And then are you actively doing anything other than the Adonis project and it going to the next steps? Are you still involved with any theater things going on right now while you're in the CFC?
For theater, no. The last theater thing I did, I wrapped at the end of October.
Hmm.
So With theater, no, but I did audition for something that's for Shaw Festival, so we'll see how
Hmm,
that goes.
nice.
Um,
Congrats. Oh, wait. So for the Shaw Festival, are you going to be acting in it or directing, bringing a play to it? What's
acting,
happening?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's a role, yeah. It's
nice.
a role. It'll be me coming back to the stage after so many years.
Fair. No, that's beautiful. Awesome. That's so cool. What's your opinion on the way, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I think Toronto is still trying to find its identity on who who gets to, like, what background is substantial in regards to acting, where back in the day Toronto used to revere stage actors, and
Yeah.
now it's growing to be, okay, now they're revering the actors that make it to the screen, and it seems like stage is making a comeback.
Uh, it's funny. Excuse me. When I speak to casting directors, they love stage actors.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, because it always comes back to this like common note where it's like, oh, it's so easy to work with an actor and tell them to bring it down as opposed to trying to get something, draw something out of an actor. Um, but I, I don't know. I just feel like in Toronto, or Canada, I don't know what it is. I don't think that's fully true. I feel like film actors are
On the pedestal.
yeah, they're on the pedestal, and yeah, they're on the pedestal. And I I don't know. I don't like it. I don't, because that's not how they do it in the US. And aren't
Yeah,
we like
and
trying to follow what yeah.
no, it's because I would love to, get a contract and work on stage, but then it's like,
It costs
again,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So
It
it's
really
like,
costs you to do theater.
hmm. So you don't think, from where your vantage point, you don't think that Canada's acting industry is looking at the stage again?
No, because and
Mm,
here's the thing. Here's why I feel like with Canada, it's so we have to do better in like um connecting these silos. I feel
yeah.
like if you're even in theater, it's compartmentalized. It's like if you do Shakespeare, you go to Stratford and you can have a really great career at Stratford, but you come back to like try and do like a George Bernard Shaw play in Toronto. They're like, no, you're a you do Shakespeare.
Oh
It's
wow.
like they try to pin you down as into whatever you're good at, into a lane.
Yeah.
um and I think it just does a disservice to the actors, because actors have to start all over again. They have to build different identities. This is my Shakespeare identity. This is my relationship, and this is where my standing could be like an 8 at Stratford, but I'm a 4 in the film and TV industry. What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? Like, you think in New York, if you have a Tony under your fucking belt, you're not getting called into the room for like for film and TV auditions, like when it comes
Yeah.
to it, if you have a good agent? Fuck no. Of course you're being called in. But here it's like, oh, that's cute. You're an amazing thespian. We don't want to see you for this
Yeah.
film, right? For this MOW even. Like, oh, gasp! I guffaw! How dare you? I am a
Yeah.
trained actor.
Yeah. I've invested money in this craft.
Right?
Respect
What?
me.
What do you mean you don't want to
Oh,
see me?
yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult for actors having to establish all these different types of careers in
Yeah.
Canada. I feel like that's how it is.
That's interesting that you phrase it that way, where it's like, yeah, it's not just an acting career. It's, is it a, and even in the film industry, it's like, oh, cool, you're in film. What kind of film? Oh, MOWs. Oh,
Yeah.
you're on screen, but not film. You're your TV. Oh, and then yeah. Now what
Right.
network? Oh, it's yeah.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So
that's interesting that you phrased it that way, but it makes so much sense where we have different acting careers in this country.
right.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't wait to like dive into talking with Samora in regards to ACTRA and what they're doing because it's like there's just so many things that as a union member I'm terrible because I don't go to the meetings, I don't, but then it's like just being on set, it just makes me ask so many questions that I can't seem to get answered. So
Right.
it's like with this journey working in this industry and driving around living in this truck, it's like doesn't that technically make me a local everywhere? So it's like why can't
Right.
I
What is that? What? No,
so
but actually, like, what is that?
it's tax breaks. So it's like you need to have an address in that city in order to be
Ah.
local, and it's like the states
Huh.
doesn't do that. If you're an actor in the states, you're an actor in all of the states.
Right.
And
Right.
here it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's such a confusing thing to wrap my head around because it's like, what is the union doing for us besides giving all of our parts to Americans? uh,
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh.
I'll say it. I'll say it. Uh,
Ooh. He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
uh, but yeah, no. So yeah, that's. I think we've really touched on like the professional aspect in regards to everything that's going on in your life, but I'm curious to know how your mental's at right now because we have conversations every now and then where you're stressed and you're just on the edge. How are you doing? What are you doing to stay sane?
Yeah. So I realize that work, when I'm working and when I'm busy, I am, it's bliss for me.
Mhm.
Which is quite, I know which probably makes me an anomaly, but it's when I fear the moments when I have nothing to do.
Yeah,
I fear those moments, like how to
you're
handle
not
that.
you're not an anomaly because that's what punched everybody in their face during the pandemic. Is
Yeah.
everybody realized how efficient their lives were when they were busy, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden when they found themselves with nothing to do, they're it sounds nice except when there's nothing to do for 2 weeks 3 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
and that it just leads to yeah no, so you're not an anomaly on that at all, don't
Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. So for me, it's really in the downtime, um, just being as productive as I can if I want to, and obviously, um, factoring in rest and all of that. But productivity, it's like a dopamine hit for me. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just like just, and even if it's not like, oh, I just finished this script, or if it's just something small, if it's just like, oh well, you went to the gym, you maintained your physique and your fitness today, that's great. You went over lines, you watched Hollywood Reporter, like the round table thing, you did something to
Mhm.
uh yeah, to sustain your artist. I just feel great. It soothes me.
So then what happens when you find yourself where there's nothing?
I can't, yeah, like when there's nothing to do,
Yeah, like
I
like for example, before this call, when you were just sitting there doing nothing, like what?
I know. Thank you. Starting this holiday break with a bang. Yeah, yeah. It's for that. I want to get back into hobbies.
Hmm.
Hobbies like regular humans, how they have that.
What's your hobby?
Mortal Kombat's my shit, but
Hmm.
I haven't played it in like I played it last night, but before last night I haven't played it since like the summer. So Video games are great for me. Writing, I always like writing, even though like and the thing what I love with my relationship with writing now is that I won't write for a specific script. I'll write with whatever I feel like writing that day and
Mm,
trust that it will find a place later on.
mhm.
Just
Are you the
write.
one to like carry around a notepad?
In my phone, I keep notes. I will just have like dramatic exchanges, comedic exchanges. When something pops up, it's just like
Mm,
like yeah. So I keep that down and store it. I'm a hoarder. I'm a hoarder of like one-liners.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and I feel like even though I want to be a playwright or screenwriter, just this year recently, writing has come easier to me as like through poetry.
Mm,
So just trusting that because I never used to like nah, poetry just felt like very airy fairy. Like, let's get to the point. Let's not sugarcoat. Let's not get all flowery. But now I see the beauty in that, and it actually feels therapeutic in a way.
mhm.
Yeah, so trusting that, writing my poems and shit in the morning, and oh, I just want to plug The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
For the first 3 months of 2021, it was like this writing program where it challenges you to do stream of consciousness writing every day for 3 months and all these other activities, right? And my writing improved exponentially over the course of those 3 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
And that
Um,
book just focuses like on the writer aspect of artistry.
no, whoever you are, a painter can do it, an actor, yeah, editor, oh, whatever. But writing is the means that you connect through the book.
Hmm.
But it explores, you're able to explore your specific craft specifically. Like, yeah, yeah,
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely. I'll check
Like
that
if you're
out.
an artist, the book is for you.
Hence the
Yeah.
title.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, sweet, fun, awesome. Well, Leighton, thank you so much for coming out and lending me your time and your expertise in all that you do because you're just so wonderful. So
Oh,
thank you for coming.
namaste.
Namaste. So now I'm a go, but are you gonna write that down in your book? Because that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Stolen. It's stolen. It's mine now.
But everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the 2 Degrees podcast, brought to you by the Play On Foundation for Brain Aneurysm and Neurological Research for Prevention and Detection. Thank y'all for coming out and gracing me your time while we speak with Leighton Alexander Williams. But other than that, I forgot to mention where I am actually on this podcast. We're actually in Las Cru Las Las Cruces Las Cruces Las Cruces, New Mexico. The truck broke down today.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're currently parked at a Ford dealership. We're gonna spend a few days here. So stressful. But we got power, we got water, we got because this is it's just interesting because it's like this is a home. I built it to be a home, but it's on a truck, but the truck's not working, so it's still a home.
Right.
So
Right.
the stress. But it was an insanely beautiful sunset today, and
You have a nice
nice.
tan on you.
Thank you. I'm trying my best, trying to. Well, this was the Texas sun, so
Okay.
we just came from Texas and nice and hot, because that was the whole purpose of this adventure was to get away from cold.
Yeah.
So we were in Texas and it was sunny, so we decided to stay a few days and then and we watched Spider-Man. Have you?
I haven't seen it yet.
Is it on your no, you don't care.
No. I care. I saw the last one. Tom is still Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Yeah. But and then we also watched we did back to back where we got tickets for Spider-Man, and then when Spider-Man was done, they were playing West Side Story, so then we snuck into the
Oh
other
wow.
theater. And which I was thinking, typically when you go to a theater, they have the poster in front of the auditorium.
Right.
They didn't have that. So like we were just kind of trying to walk very unconspicuously into all the auditoriums. Just because then we'd walk in and then we'd see that, oh no, they're playing another movie, or we'd walk in and then like we'd see, and then there was one auditorium we walked into, and then I made the snide comment of maybe this one's West Side Story. And then the
Mm,
guy in front of me just turned around and was like, I hope not. Ha 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 ha. He thought I was making a joke, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he's clearly not here to see West Side Story. Got out of there. And then we were sitting in another one, and it turned out to be the one. And it everybody was watching Spider-Man. It was just us and this old lady watching West Side Story.
oh,
And oh, it was so yeah. If you haven't seen that one, Steven Sondheim, rest in peace. Oh, so good. It's kind of sad though, where it's just like it came out and then the news of him passing away, and it's like he didn't even get to see this come to we probably did, probably got to see like previews of it, but oh,
mhm.
it was phenomenal getting to see the recreation, the reimagination of the Sharks and the Jets, and oh, it was so good. But yeah, Spider-Man and West Side Story in Texas while enjoying the sun and going for runs because that's just life now,
Doesn't sound like a bad life. Sounds amazing to me.
right? But then the truck breaks down, and then now it's like,
Ah,
my home is stuck in New Mexico, which isn't all that bad. But what happens when it's like we're stuck here for like 6 months and then we're gonna get deported back to Canada? What? Yeah, that's where my anxiety lies right now.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
But again, thank y'all for coming out. And Leighton, again, thank you for coming. You are a star, and I hope to get an audition for your future projects.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my king. No audition. No, it's just offered only. Offers only,
Offers,
perhaps.
yes, straight to offer. I
It's an
didn't even
offer.
I didn't even think I was allowed that now, but if you say so, I believe it.